Step into a Slim Jim. There we go. All good. That was Libertarius, by the way.
We've fallen into the macho verse.
Welcome to the Freedom Guild, everyone. This is our the first in-person session with everyone, right?
Sure is.
In my life, just as far as D&D in general goes, yes.
Right? Wow. Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah, because we did the last one we did, I had to be remote.
Yes.
So it was sort of a...
That's not entirely true. We technically did do one in person at Mike's.
Yeah, we did 2 in person.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, they blurred together.
Go back and listen to those.
Is that for listeners or for me?
Audience?
Because I really need the reminder.
Both? No, because I got freaked out for a second. I was like, what's my camera? Is it camera 2? Is it
Mine's easy. It's straight ahead.
Put up some false equipment for the scene.
Welcome to our table, everyone. I am Rob Parry. I am the guild master for this particular session.
Just this one, huh?
Just this one. Well, I'm doing it on a case-by-case basis.
Oh, okay.
You know me.
He's a freelance DM.
I have to revisit his contract.
Per diem work.
My moods change like the weather. I'm like the wind, Steve. We'll just go around the table and introduce ourselves. We'll start with Nick.
Oh my god, I'm all verklempt. That's my camera. I am Nick, and I am playing Libertarius Beefslice the 25th, the half-orc paladin from the town. I always mix these up now because I
Now
have
because that you did it once, yeah.
the town of Freemarket in the land of the fountain.
Correct.
Not on the nose at all.
It's just his character. He
It's
made
just
it.
my thing.
He made this character and doesn't remember where he's from.
I mean, he did for the first 32 episodes. The 33rd is where he got mixed up.
Yes, I'm like a Pokemon. I can only know 4 moves. I had to forget some.
Next up,
We've decided clockwise.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The way the Lord intended. I am Bill Pilkonis. I'm playing a Braxian Satarra. Goes by Abe. He is a Fernal Druid. Yeah. That's what I'm doing.
Cool. I'm Lauren Kennedy. I'm playing Rosina Riveterio, nickname Rosie. I am a ranger gnome, and I really just care about freeing my people. And I don't know. I guess some present company don't like women saying what they want, but that's what's up with Rosie.
Why am I automatically a sexist?
Steve, I think it's telling you assumed that she was talking about you.
Well, everyone else had spoken already. I was the next one in line to speak.
Steve, that would be like if she was saying, and some people on my team some people in my party are racist. And you're like, okay, I say one thing. No one was saying anything.
Why does it matter?
And I feel like I should establish up front, we're just going to say Lauren's microphone was an intentional character choice we made, and not that I neglected to bring an additional microphone stand when I should have.
All about that ragtag life.
Yeah,
Rosina, she fixes things.
Yeah, exactly.
She is.
She cobbles things together. She makes it work.
That's a Rosie repair.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and thanks for just pointing it out, because people might not have otherwise known unless you said something.
Oh, everyone's going to notice, Steve.
And everyone said my name, so
Yeah,
my name's...
who are you?
This is Steve, everyone.
I'm Steve. I'm Steven Trolinger, and I'm playing... Let me check. Yep, I'm playing Septimus Goldenmane. He has many nicknames. I won't go through them because he's going through an identity crisis. And he is a arcane trickster rogue, high elf, not to brag. Yes. But apparently I'm going to because everyone thinks I'm racist and sexist. So that's the reason why, because he's a high elf.
It's not really a thought.
It's kind of your character arc.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm eventually going to get better once I decide when that happens.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
You're definitely on a journey.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's improving or not.
Yeah. There is
Just
movement.
leaving a trail of comatose people behind us, but that's
They
fine.
could be dead, but they're not. Okay?
And with that, let's jump into that feels as good a place as any to jump back into our campaign. So when last we left the party, you guys had been employed, recruited by the head of the guard for Harmony Hills, which is an isolationist settlement on the road between Tamiston and a few different places. Right now, you guys were planning on making your way to the gate back to the Fey Realm to drop your friend Crunchy off. And Harmony Hills sits right on the crossroads of that. In the course of making yourselves at home, you came to the attention of the local constabulary, who has requested your help.
It's a word. What is we laughing at?
No, it's great. I just love SAT words when they make it into real life and not
I think as I brought up before, it's not an affectation. It's just how I talk, which
Yes.
does lead to confusion in real life at times. But it fits here. So you have been recruited to join a series of negotiations that are currently happening between some high-ranking members of the factions that control your hometown of Tamiston and the leaders of Harmony Hills. They want you, Septimus, to sit in on those and try to represent the town itself, who kind of wants to take on a more independent bent, at least as far as the guard captain goes.
Oh yeah, I didn't take the pulse of the town to see what everyone is about.
So the course of action that you settled upon is to investigate the ruins of the larger Harmony Hills community, the larger town that existed before the Great War that sort of led to the fall of the Republic that had existed on the Wyvern Peninsula, in order to find some of the spell books or arcane materials from a coven of hags that had set up shop here years before, in an attempt to use that magic to try to trick people into leaving Harmony Hills alone.
I believe my initial assessment was threaten a terrorist act.
Yes, you were initially going for some kind of false flag operation to throw your enemies off the trail of this farming community. Of well-meaning, if, let's say, insensitively isolationist elves. And you, upon investigating this community, you find yourself in the ruins of this old elvish town, where you have settled upon a mysterious tower at the center of town, which seems to be beckoning you. And that's where we'll pick back up. The party is currently standing next to a rather grisly scene. What looks to be half of an ox is sitting in a large circle of dead grass with a pack of dead wolves all around it. You guys had investigated and seen that the ox looks like it was properly cleaved in half. The wolves looked as if several parts of their face and body had been sanded off, but none of the bodies had been eaten at all. After investigating that scene, you turned around and found that the previously closed doors of the central tower were now open. And that is where we'll pick back up. Everyone do a wisdom check for me.
Excuse me while I use the giant novelty dice.
It's a nat 1.
That's a
What did I tell you?
Said wisdom?
Mhm.
19.
In case the dice cam didn't show it, that was a 16 Steven got.
Yeah, 16.
Only one worth.
Flat 16.
16?
Yeah.
19 for you.
I'm just happy to be here.
Septimus, as you look over toward the open door of the tower, you hear a faint sound of laughter that seems to be carried on the wind. As you look up toward the sky, you can see some dark clouds rolling in, and it looks like a storm is on the way. And that is definitely to set ambiance. It's not because there's actually a storm coming
was
in our
just gonna
physical
say.
world, and I don't know if that's going to bleed over into the audio or not. But you see a thunderstorm approaching.
Also, for the
on
record, if you
horizon.
hear anyone yelling or fighting, they're in the tower. It's certainly not happening here in the space.
My first idea is we don't do any of this and we go back to town.
Rosina, you also hear the faint sound of laughter. You look up toward the tower, and just for a moment, you think you see.
Second time I've seen this bitch. Okay.
You think you see. Yes, once again, you see just out of the corner of your eye, darting past the window on the top floor of the tower, what looks to be the form of a small child, or possibly a gnome.
This time, I actually shout out. I go, wait!
Okay.
Or are they?
The wind picks up. You can see it fluttering some of the banners that are hanging off the side of the tower. And then the same silence that has been hanging heavy over this part of town returns.
Cool, cool.
The hell did you just yell at?
Yeah, what's happening?
There's something up there.
Okay.
I'm gonna go find out.
I
I'm gonna
mean-
start to walk towards the door.
Oh boy. Oh geez.
I do not follow them, and I stand there saying, "Can you be more specific than the word something?"
There's a child.
Okay. Did they look like they were in danger?
I ignore him.
Wait, was that door not closed the last time we were here? If I'm recalling correctly.
Old Crunchy says, "Oh, you don't know, man." And at which point Zooks goes, "No, that was definitely closed when we walked up."
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so why would there be a small child out here? Some shenanigans seem to be afoot.
And I mean, they're letting us in, so we might as well just take their invitation. Maybe help the kid on the way.
Is that really what you're taking from this? Oh, the
No.
door was open. That automatically means we should go in?
No, not at all. I'm saying they're welcoming us in, so we might as well,
Well,
acquiesce.
a murderer could welcome us into his house before he murders us. Does that mean we go through the door?
Scared to do the job that we were hired to do?
A little bit, yes.
I'm certainly comfortable walking out. I'm waiting on this floor pan.
Okay, but you all walk ahead of me. You all go first.
I'm at the door.
I just want it to be upfront. I want my imprimatur on this action to say I said it was a bad idea, and we'll see who was right at the end.
Yeah, whatever. We'll get you your medal at the end saying that you were the one who did it. But we have a job to do, okay? And whether or not this little girl laughing is some weird sort of outside spooky demonic shit, we have to investigate it.
Real quick, are your levels going to be okay? Because
Macho Man's levels will be fine.
because you are
Macho Man.
you are a lot louder.
Step into a Slim Jim. There we go. All good. That was Libertarius, by the way.
We've fallen into the macho verse.
Oh man, I'm hopping to the Machoverse immediately.
Yeah.
What universe are you from? Are you still married to Elizabeth?
Was that your motivation for the voice?
It is now. It found me.
In my universe, Slim Jims don't snap; they bend, brother.
The voice of that little girl, it rises to the top.
All right. Yeah, Zook says, "I'll hang back toward the back with you, Septimus. Just to guard the rear."
I didn't agree to that. All right, but don't get too close.
I mean, Septimus, you can't have it both ways, man. You can't be in
Yes,
back and
I
also
can.
unhappy about the people in back with you.
Yes, I can have it both ways. I'm rich.
You are such a problem, man.
Got you there.
Commentary.
As Rosina walks inside the tower.
I want to say I more peek my head in really
Okay.
hard before I just step in.
Hard
Do you
peek.
want to do like a hard perception
hard-
check,
yeah.
like really see what you
Hard
see?
perception check. All right. Oh man, I don't know if I have perception on this. Well, I rolled a 10.
How old is this?
You would have a plus.
It would
plus
be wisdom and
5.
maybe
Oh,
proficiency.
plus 5?
It would
Yeah.
be wisdom plus proficiency, yeah.
Whoa, so 15.
15.
Yeah.
As Rosie pokes her head in to this front door, you see there's a large. What's the word? There's a large entryway that opens up.
That's the word you forgot?
I forgot.
There's a large, what do you call them?
One of those.
The big open thing. You
Glad
walk
I-
through them.
Glad I wrote that down. When you poke your head inside, you see the first room of this tower opens up. It is dark inside, aside from the faint glow of red light coming from a set of double doors in front of you, just peeking around the edges, anywhere where,
Like a firelight or like a red light?
like a red
Like a
light.
tea light?
Like yes, it's not flickering.
Turn my up on. Hang on. Yeah.
Yes, it has a red hue to it. You can see a staircase running up to your left and right. There is a large ornate chandelier that hangs down from the ceiling. All of the different lighting fixtures that seem to have once adorned it are all now broken or missing. And you see someone has affixed what looks to be dozens of hanging bone chimes from the chandelier.
From the back, I shout, "Still feel good about this?"
You can also see
You're not helping.
there are several spots of blood and grime that look to be caked around the floor and walls at various points.
In retrospect, would I have seen this figure in the window enough to have been able to observe anything about it?
No, you're just catching glimpses.
Just fleeting enough. Okay.
Yeah.
So just know there's a little bit
Again,
of
like
self-doubt,
I
but-
said, it might be a child, it might be a gnome.
Okay.
It's that quick.
I wouldn't tell the difference.
I mean, I've suddenly lost all confidence, so I'm a little frozen in the entryway.
Oh, that's the word, right?
Ah,
I will, I guess, see that and take the lead. I'll bring Brian Boitata out
Yes.
to both light the way and keep us safe.
as you let your fire spirit snake flow from your sleeve as he coils around your feet, his sort of natural inborn fire creates a little pool of light around you that helps to illuminate your immediate area.
Very good.
As you walk inside, Crunchy takes a drag, and he's going to keep up with you.
Important note.
Oh, he needs to... I just need to, this is, looks like a pretty tense place. I'm just going to chill out a little bit on my way in.
Would I be able to, I don't know, investigate it, or
Sure.
is the arrangement of the bones anything?
You're investigating the chandelier.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry. Let me use the box.
Lauren, can you tilt the mic just a little bit closer to...
So that's a 15 on investigation.
your left? Yeah, that works.
Okay. So on a 15, the bones look to be very old. They don't look... There's nothing indicating like this was done recently. You notice the same about the bloodstains. You recall that what Captain Bosley mentioned to you earlier was that the last time anyone had been back here was when they had cleaned the Coven of Hags out. He said they had fought in the tower. It looks like this is from then. It doesn't seem like anyone's set foot in here since then.
Okay.
I saw it upstairs. I loudly stage whisper.
Oh, now it's an it?
Are you... I know you're hanging back, Septimus. Are you in the door, or...
However far they're in, I'm the back part of that. So
Okay.
depending on how far they've walked in, I'm...
Libertarius, you're inside?
Oh, yep.
All right.
Well said, friend.
So as you all...
Sorry, I was thinking about something else.
You all kind of crowd around the door, looking in.
Three
it
Stooges
is-
style?
Yes. And it is just as quiet inside the tower as it is outside. And the only light source currently is Brian Boitata and that red glow peeking out from the double doors ahead of you.
Would you say it's a little too quiet?
It's been a little too quiet.
Okay.
I would say from the time you guys first got back here and noted that there were no sights, no animals, no birds in the trees, nothing skittering about this forest, it's been way too quiet.
I mean, do we want to go up for the kid or go look at
No,
that?
wait, Rhodes, did you actually see
Glowing light?
something?
Twice.
I didn't observe any
I
of
thought it was
this.
a kid, but now I don't know.
Refresh me, Rob. Do I know that this is where the hags were?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
In the conversation you had with Captain Bosley, he did mention that was the last time anyone had patrolled back here, and that the hags had set up in the tower.
But I don't know specifically where they were in the tower
No.
originally. Okay. All right.
So, no, I was just going to say the fact that we are surrounded by bones and dead animals, that feels very much like the home of a child in the land of the Fountainhead. But here it does not seem like a place that a child should be. So I am of the opinion that this is not a real child.
Classic uncanny situation, all the right things, all the wrong vibes.
Yep. Who said that?
God.
God?
It's your father.
I'm hearing voices too, by the way. It's a character choice I've internalized. That I
Yeah,
haven't
that's
said
been
to anyone
happening
else.
though,
Yes.
so that's not out of.
Well, all right. We have to get the. I have to figure out what sort of weird magic these witches were using to hold the town hostage, so that I can hold the town hostage for the town's benefit. So we unfortunately, have to go in here. I don't necessarily think we should divert ourselves to help creepy children, but that could be just me.
Do you know anything about magic, man?
I point to the bat on my shoulder. What do you call this, huh?
A bat?
Septimus's bat familiar Bruce alights on his shoulder and chitters cheerfully.
Yeah, what do you call this? That's pure magic, baby.
My parents are dead.
I know,
What was
buddy, I know.
Well, I no, just, without going upstairs, we still got this big
backdrop,
red
I'm sorry, it's
glow.
What?
We got this big red glow ahead of us. I mean, without even going upstairs, we got something immediately threatening and colorful.
All right, well, why would we go towards the thing that's threatening and colorful?
All right, let's fuck this
Because
kid up, and then
the
we'll
closer
keep investigating.
thing.
You guys are being really judgy. Why is red equal evil? Huh? There might be really nice people in there, and they might need our help.
I didn't say evil. I just said creepy.
That's fair.
Some of
Yeah,
my best
you-
friends are creepy.
And if we're being fair, you backed off first. You were creeped out.
Yeah, you're the one
Fine.
with the problem this time, not me.
I start
Guys, we all need to check our privilege.
I start walking to the stairs. I don't like being called.
You don't like being
I don't
called
like
out.
being called out.
I don't like being rightfully called out on my racism.
All right, so you're just gonna head to the nearest staircase.
I'm gonna move slowly, but yeah, like I almost don't even pick my feet up all the way from the ground and kind of like scuttle over towards the staircase, almost like I'm like trying to check for traps as I walk.
Okay.
Can you roll for scuttling?
You can roll an investigation check, which will.
I would
help you
also
set
like
for
to
traps.
roll-
Hey, you said okay.
I would also like to roll investigation.
Okay.
If
Are
that's
you?
possible.
So now, are you following behind her?
I'm walking. Well, I assume the whole group is walking behind her, aren't we? Like, are
Yeah,
we
yeah.
following her? Yeah.
Yeah. But if you're also investigating, you're next in line behind her. Then.
Yes.
What investigation fall under out of these?
Intelligence.
Okay. Not great. I don't think I'm proficient in intelligence, am I? No.
I am. I got a 19.
I rolled an 8.
I gotta run.
Oh no, that's an 18. The one is really, really thin. I got an 18. I swear, touch it. I'll show you,
You
where
won't.
the 8 is.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
Because the 8 is right
It's a
here.
trick die. Don't believe it.
That's like one of those. That's like one of those when you go to the optometrist and they see for colorblind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should
Yeah,
try and
those
color
are-
that
those
in,
are
but
tough
that is
dice
an
to
8.
That is an 18
Yeah.
though. Okay.
Mine's still better.
So as you
I got a 19. Mine's still better.
18, 19. Okay. As
Good year.
as you guys are both approaching the stairs, you both almost at the same time.
Damn it.
Notice a.
Half a second sooner, you noticed that.
Oh, fine. So you are as you are approaching the stairs. Septimus first. You notice putting a hand on Rosina's shoulder. Stop her as there is a tripwire that you can see laid across the third step up. And on a 19,
You're welcome.
on a 19, you look up to see that someone has affixed like a hanging log in place at the top of the stairs.
And with an 18, I noticed that there's a dart that's going to shoot out if you hit a certain button on the stairs.
Lauren, I believe.
Also true.
I really
Lauren-
needed that. Thank you.
Lauren, I believe Rob is going less Indiana Jones and more Home Alone with this particular castle.
Yeah, a log. I love that.
So it's a confirmed psychopathic murder child.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe it's been kidnapped and it needs us and it's booby trapped up there.
Wait,
Why would
guys.
you be laughing?
Wait, guys. Hold on.
I didn't say anything.
What's today? Is today Christmas?
What's
if
a
it's
Christmas?
If it's Christmas, we should get the hell out of here.
What's a Christmas?
Never mind that now.
Oh wait, I haven't gone up to. I'm still further back.
Yeah, you're still further back.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about funny jokes that I remember.
I'm
from
just
music.
saying. Look, my whole thing is I'm the smartest one. All right. If I can't use that, then I'm nothing. I'm nothing. I have the highest intelligence stat. Okay.
Well, you've found a trap.
I know, but I had to fight for it.
But you could still trip over it.
I was about to say, the trap, so you can see the trap in front of you on the staircase. So
There's a trap.
we've gotten that far.
Okay. Let's walk over the trap.
I'll
Okay.
bamf right past it with Brian Boytada and the whole gang, if everyone's willing.
You'll what it?
I can a bamf. I can teleport everyone 15 feet if you're willing.
Using his fire spirit.
Using my spirit, I could just get us past it.
All right.
You do that
for me.
twice? Cool.
Okay,
We're
fine.
gonna have to get out of there.
That way we don't have to set off the trap. Then some
It's
dumbass
a
could
wire
fall
on
into
the
it.
ground. You can step over it.
I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah?
I think we should teleport.
What's wrong with
You
you
could
people?
fall over.
Not with my dexterity.
Oh, now you're intellect and dexterity. La-ti-da, Mr. Fancy Pants, coming from money and intellect.
I'm also wearing fancy pants. Thank you for noticing.
Are they real, though? Aren't they
They're
glimmer
illusory.
pants?
They're
Wearing
illusory
fancy
pants.
He is wearing very fancy
God damn it.
pants.
They are illusory,
We
however.
have established that. He is wearing a very fancy pirate costume.
Which in,
Oh, that's right.
which in an upcoming Instagram post, all of our fans will be able to see.
You've said it now. You have to commit.
I'm good. It's called social media. I'm doing it.
Just imagine like Daisy Dukes and then a frilly pirate.
It'll be
shirt.
his threads for threads.
Oh, I forgot about that. Shit. I have another one I have to do now.
So, Abe calls forth his fire spirit and, collecting all of you, teleports you up to the second level.
I saw the supposed child on the top floor.
Yes.
Which was 4 or 5? Do we know? Do we have a sense?
5. Yes, it would have been the very top floor, which would be the 5th floor.
Okay.
The way the tower is situated, it's a straight cylinder for the first 4 levels, and then there's a smaller turret peeking out, sticking out at the top of it.
Lighthouse-esque.
Lighthouse-esque. Yeah,
Okay.
actually.
Arabic minaret.
Yes. All right.
Hooligans.
As you guys walk up,
Weird noises in here.
As you guys walk up the stairs, you carefully stepping around the log that has been rigged up to drop, you find yourself in what looks to be a waiting room, a waiting area of sorts. You see there's a collection of couches, one of which has been overturned, sitting up against the far wall. There are some windows along the southern wall that look out over the outside area. You see a large dried pool of blood in the center of the room with some unusual, what look to be runes or characters drawn around it. But other than that, this room seems empty.
I'm sure nothing bad happened here.
Oh, I should also say, to your left, there is another staircase that leads upward. And then there is a doorway that is closed that looks like it leads out of the room.
So just a big blood circle with writing around it.
Do any of us can we recognize the writing?
Hey, go step in the middle of that circle. I want to see something.
Actually,
got it.
I'm trying to remember.
I'm on it.
Does anyone speak Sylvan?
Yeah, I do.
So, Abe,
My
you
mom
would
does.
you would note that the writing is Sylvan in nature. It's a bunch of they're disconnected words. They don't form a sentence.
Gotcha.
You see the word for grass. You see the word for air. You see the word for soil. And then it looks like there should be more continuing, but it also seems like those half of the circle has been scratched or drawn out. It looks like it's been there for a while. It looks very old. It's like caked into the floor.
Mm-hmm. Well, what do we do?
Do we necessarily need to do anything in this room? Can we just
I
keep
mean-
walking up the stairs, right?
Yeah, we could. We have a rest of a building on this floor too.
Wait, what do the words say again? What are we working with?
Grass, wind, and soil are the words that you can identify.
I love their music, but otherwise, is there anything we can deduce from this? I don't.
Why are you
recognize
still in
this.
your character voice?
No, this is me
Yeah,
asking.
I think because he's asking in character.
You use the word deduce?
You
It's
Your
a-
internal
little-
prejudice.
It's a big day, man.
Oh, wow, this word has more than 3 syllables. Can I even say it? Wow. Fuck you.
I didn't say that. Steve said it.
Fuck you then.
Steve's even worse than Septimus.
I just want to know, is there anything we should even worry about? Like, is this any pressing danger? Because we're getting a lot of bad omens, a lot of bad juju, and I want to be making an informed decision as we investigate this. That's right.
Let me do an-
investigate.
let me
4
do-
syllables. Wow.
Let me do an Arcana check on the circle.
Sure.
18.
While it certainly looks like it was probably used in some kind of arcane ritual, any magic that it might have conjured, any kind of arcane energy that might have been trapped into it is long gone.
Does this all look to be of the same age and disrepair as the bones and blood downstairs?
Yes.
Okay.
Could I do a religion check to see if this ritual sparks any knowledge of?
Sure.
Despite my origins, I have a decent religion. Except I don't. Yeah, that's a 7.
Might.
Sweet. You guys, I think this might have been a religious practice of some kind.
Rob,
Your mind does immediately flash back to the I guess, for want of a better word, the chapel you found.
The abattoir?
The abattoir.
Yeah.
In the Red Eclipse depot. It has similar vibes to that, but it doesn't seem to share any other iconography.
Rob, I have passive wisdom and intelligence for perception, insight, and investigation. Can I utilize any of that to glean any additional info?
I'm utilizing those.
Gotcha.
I have your totals, and there's certain things you will know.
Okay.
If you happen to have high enough those things.
I'd say we should just keep walking up the stairs.
Yeah, I mean, it looks to be tied to all the hag activity, if I had to guess.
Activity. Damn it.
Nice. No, high five. Yes.
Everyone do a wisdom check.
Was it because of what we just did? That is why.
A trap
that
door
just seemed like a good
You re-rolled mine back into a 2.
Time.
Sweet.
to do it.
I got a 5.
Could you please use your real dice, please?
Absolutely not.
10. Flat
So
10.
wait, what did you guys learn?
Unnatural 20.
Natural
Jesus,
20.
40.
Unnatural 20.
Oh, unnatural. Still. And what did? Oh, sorry. What did everybody
10.
else
I got a 5.
As you can see, a 4.
get? Libertarius, as you guys both high five, as the clang of the high five fades, you hear faintly coming from the staircase next to you. Help!
Wearing plate armor.
Help! Please! Help!
What the fuck?
Help! And then you hear a clang of metal.
That didn't sound good.
What didn't?
What doesn't sound good?
You didn't hear the little voice saying help, help, help?
No.
And then there's a metal clang. Guys, I think... Okay, wait, nope. Probably not a real
didn't.
kid. Can I deduce did this sound like a kid? Could I tell?
It sounded like a child.
Okay. I think it's the
Couldn't
same.
you tell from Rob's expert acting?
Can't you tell? That's my child voice.
I'm a little kid. Was that all? Did I hear that as well?
No, that's you trying to explain what you heard.
Help, I'm a little kid. It sounded just like that.
Yeah, you know?
It's probably... But once again, just didn't pass the vibe check. But I definitely heard something. You didn't hear that?
No.
No.
Where did the sound come from?
So the second staircase that leads upward, that's along the wall
Yeah.
to your left. It came echoing from up there.
I head towards that staircase.
Could you hold on a second? Because
I got a bad feeling about this.
the first staircase had a log trap. I'm pretty sure nobody said, you know what, that's good enough. No more traps on the stairs. Can you give me a second, please?
Also, sorry too. I'm sorry. This is my bad. I didn't make this clear enough. Abe, you heard that too.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
You heard the same thing that.
Did anyone else hear that? Am I taking crazy pills?
Yeah, I mean, I did. That said, I think you might still be taking crazy pills because I wouldn't trust myself.
Yeah, did once.
This pairing does not inspire any sort of confidence in me right now.
Nothing inspires confidence in you, man.
That's not true. When I think of it, I'll tell you what it is.
If we listened to you, we would have been back in town by now. I'm just saying.
Yeah, having a drink and a lie down, probably.
Gotta keep your eye on the prize, the long term, the reason we are here. Can I go? I go to the base of the staircase, and then can I investigate?
You can.
God.
My big lucky dice. Nothing's gone wrong with this.
And what's your intelligence?
-1.
Okay.
I hope. I said before he even rolled.
You can. You can give him advantage. Is helping.
Yeah. Why
Okay.
don't you roll the same die?
No. She gave you
Oh,
advantage.
she gave. Okay.
Yeah.
Still
6.
6.
Still not better.
Well, it's 2 points better. I investigate. Okay.
-1, so 5.
5.
Looking up this staircase, you still don't hear anything, but you can see light. It looks like natural sunlight is peeking through up.
Anyone else want to check just to be safe?
Yes, thank you for being cognizant enough of your own limitations to actually ask for that sort of help.
Hey.
I really appreciate it.
I'm Libertarius, not Limitarius.
Okay?
Use that die.
I am not using that die. Take that away from me.
Well, Steve, homophobic.
Investigation, right?
Investigation.
That is a 22. No, wait. 22.
Okay, on a 22, as you come up behind Libertarius' shoulder and look up, you don't see any traps.
Okay.
You also see light. You can hear the whistling of wind up above you. It sounds like gusts picking up, and you can hear some thunder rolling outside. It seems like the storm is approaching.
Okay, I'm pretty sure the staircase itself is a trap, and there's actually nothing up there. You'll just fall off into the sky. Because there's a bunch of wind coming from up there. So there's a big hole or something. But I don't think that staircase is actually leading anywhere.
No, Rob. We can walk around the tower, right? And there's an alternate staircase up, right?
We're probably not.
You
supposed
wouldn't
to
know that.
I wouldn't
It's
know
just
that.
given our current setup, I have no way to hide this. So
Fair.
Guys,
you
let's
don't
keep
know.
looking for an alternate staircase.
But we do know there's a door out into the rest of
You
the tower.
do know there's a
Right.
door that leads further into the tower itself.
So, buddy, why don't we
And
go through this door
returning
here?
to the first floor, was that a similar thing, or was that all one big room down there?
No,
Save for
similar
that center
situation. So, and we can see, so down on the first floor, the entryway,
Yeah.
I think it's called, staircase on either side, and then you had here in the center, there's a big set of double doors. Those are the ones that have
into
the
an inner
red
corridor
light,
there. Gotcha.
the red light
Pouring through.
pouring through the crack.
that Lauren immediately assumed was bad because of her preconceptions.
How dare you?
Look, here at the Freedom Guild, we're all about expanding our sense of the world around us.
Because we're all bad at it.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Nick here with the Freedom Guild. But we have fun, we joke around, but we're going to get serious for a little bit. Racism is not okay. Now, we might employ it to tell narrative stories and create little topical commentary on things, but it's not good. So talk to your parents if you think they're racist.
Unless, I was going to say,
Or you're struggling with racism.
Unless the racism comes from your parents, which, let's be fair, 9 times out of 10, that's where it came from.
Ignore your parents.
The
Freeze
more
frame,
you
yeah.
know. No.
I'll add that graphic in at the end.
Excellent.
Stop wipe.
Yeah.
Buddy, why don't we just not go up this staircase, and then let's just go through the door. How about we go through the door? See what's
Fine,
through
but the
there.
next staircase I want to go up, I get to. We'll tag team this.
Sure. That's going to end well.
What did you say?
Gross.
Let's go through
I
the
step
door.
away from the base of the staircase.
Let's go through the door. And since you know what, buddy, let's have you take the initiative and you go through the door first. Since you were so gung ho about the stairs.
Hell yeah.
Okay. All right. You approach the door, Libertarius?
Absolutely, I do. Rob, can I just say, for my first real, D&D or any role-playing session in earnest, I'm so glad I have a character with a high armor class. It encourages me to be braver.
It helps, doesn't it?
Braver, dumber, potato, potato.
Fine line.
Same thing. It's just the outcome.
Yeah.
Yes. I walk up to the door.
All right. As you approach the door, you reach out toward the knob, and it is locked.
Well, looks like another job for old Septimus.
I mean, I got my hammer of extra bashing. I could just bash this.
Right.
I could attempt to bash this door.
That is totally valid.
I try to do that thing
It
where
does seem.
I
It looks like a wooden door, like a solid wooden door, but you're pretty good at bashing.
I try to do that thing where I smartly crack all my knuckles at once, and then but my bones are so brittle it hurts. And I go, "Wow, God, why did I do that?"
Why do people do that?
Damn, I don't think I have the stats for my hammer of extra bashing on here.
It's a base D12 plus 1. It's a plus 1 magic weapon with a base D12 damage.
Okay, I'm gonna attempt to bash this
I
door.
love how Rob gave it a super cool name, and you just refused to call it that.
I like his name for it.
Wait, what was the name? What was your name for it again?
Liberty Calling.
Liberty Calling. Sounds like an insurance company, but a really cool one. Fine, Liberty
insurance.
Calling.
No, come on. That's what it was called until you found it. Now it's the hammer
That's
of
its
extra
official
bashing.
name, whether or not it's called that.
Exactly.
Can I just roll D12, or do I need to?
No, it's a D20
Okay.
to hit it, and then at that point,
I'm giving this one more.
and
I'm an ally,
This
Steve.
is mostly to see if you crit, because I mean it's a door. You're going to hit it with your hammer. At that point, we're hitting for damage.
Could I miss
but
the door if I rolled a 1?
One might be hilariously bad, but that's basically why we're
Swing
rolling.
and hit Steve in the face.
See,
12.
square in the middle. So
That was the first time in using that dice this whole session that it has been above 5.
Double digits. Working my way up.
you land
like
in
the
the
tower.
middle. You hit that door square in the middle. Do a strength. Or now you roll for damage.
The door's name was Malcolm.
Can I borrow someone's D12? Thank
That'd
you.
be a D12 plus your strength modifier plus 1.
Yeah, buddy.
Well, that's 16.
All right. Yep. You bring the hammer down square against the center of mass on the door. You smash straight through it. It just caves right in beneath the full might of the hammer of extra bashing.
Fuck yeah.
I just I have all my lockpicking tools out, and I just very quietly put them back in my pouch. Okay.
Actually, Septimus, you notice as Libertarius kicks out the bottom half, the remnants of
here.
the door, you do see there appears to have been a contraption attached to the back side of the locking mechanism that probably would have done something.
I noticed that, but keep it completely to myself and don't let them know that he actually did a good thing that probably helped me out.
Just quietly put your tools back
Yeah.
in their cases.
Playing a character, guys.
It doesn't feel good for me either.
Libertarius, you step out into a hallway which looks to run in a circle around a central...
It looks like a dick.
Yes, it does. Not on purpose, but
Apparently, it's never on purpose.
Apparently, subconsciously. You walk out into a hallway that seems to run in a ring around the central core of the tower. You see this central pillar that sits in the middle of the tower is ornately decorated. What looks like a mural has been carved into it. There's a lot of elven script, and it seems to depict the same kind of pastoral, bucolic scene that you remember seeing carved into some of the hard surfaces back in the club where you're staying.
Is there some sort of check I can make to figure out if this whole tower was some sort of weird daycare at some point?
You know what? You could do a history check.
Roll for daycare, yeah.
Yeah.
Do a history check. Yeah, roll for daycare.
18.
On an 18, you recall... actually, this looking around here, you recall your elven... Your history, your elven history, similar to... It's traditional in elven settlements for them to be built around a central tower. That tower typically takes on the administrative and communal aspects of the settlement in question. So back in Tamiston, each of the individual wards is built around these large towers, and that's where the crews are run out of. In a similar fashion, it seems like Harmony Hills, when it existed before the war, was run out of this tower. This would have
City
been...
Hall.
This is exactly. You are standing in the ruins of what was once the pre-war Harmony Hills City Hall.
Oh, well, if it's a city hall, it definitely doesn't have a daycare. Am I right, fellas? Government cutbacks.
Topical.
Zing.
Take that, small towns.
But yes, so as you seeing that, you begin to think back. You realize that this probably at one point was the city hall for Harmony Hills before the larger settlement was abandoned.
Is there anything about the history, like just looking at the panels, can we deduce anything that we didn't know before?
I would say on your, what do you got, like an 18, right? On your 18, actually, you would notice, taking that into account, this kind of pointedly doesn't seem to point to anything of significance. It looks nice. And you recall Harmony Hills was a kind of wealthy, planned community, so it's probably a lot of
It's probably local artists.
stuff that looks nice, not necessarily stuff that has a lot of meaning.
A lot of show.
A lot of show.
I'm glad I made us take a full 5 to 10 minutes out of playtime to figure out what the walls look like.
Oh, some people might care about the lore. It's establishing something. Like, you know what this tower is now, even if it hasn't been used for that in a very, very long time.
Yeah, everyone. You're welcome.
Steve, you were the only one who brought it up as being.
I know that. I know that.
You're so defensive.
No, I'm not.
Shut up.